Saturday, February the 25th, 2017, around 4 o'clock in the afternoon, Refreshing Mountain was hit by a storm that ripped through the mountainside in this area. They're classifying it as straight line winds that were, I believe, 70 to 80 miles sustained, downed a significant number of trees, which hit buildings here and zip lines, and just created a real mess at the property.
The wind was just getting really loud, and looking out my windows, I saw trees swaying like I have never seen before.
My kids were like, Dad, there's trees going down. And I saw like 3 trees go down out of the front window and some on the back, and then we were scrambling to get everybody into the basement, and it was just roaring. I was like, oh, this is a big deal. This is not something we've dealt with before.
So we headed down to the basement, and the power went out while we were down there.
Went back upstairs, realized, oh my, I have trees on my house, and looking out the front porch, going outside on the front porch, like there were trees all down, like where my car had been, and all around our house.
And then my phone rings. Marlon called. He said, hey, we have a lot of trees down over at camp. Can you come over and help out? And so I headed over. And the maintenance road across from my driveway, there was 2 trees down on that. Looking up at the aerial platform that you can see from my house, that aerial platform was leaning on a pretty hard angle. There's obviously some trees on that line.
Obviously the power was out everywhere, so one of the first things that we looked to do was get the generators running to restore backup power, because we were an hour or so away from when dinner was supposed to be served for everybody, and the kitchen was in the middle of trying to get that all going.
The Flying V line had a tree on it, and the starting platform of that was leaning pretty hard. Worked my way up towards the center of camp near the office and saw there was a tree on bunk 4, and that's when I met Marlon, and we decided to get the tree off of bunk 4 first. So went up on top, and there's a couple holes in the roof from limbs that had gone down in.
Got in touch with each group leader to make sure there were no injuries, make sure that everybody was accounted for. And that was just a little bit of a process. We had 300 plus people on site. We had a lot of staff that were on site, had activities that had just shut down.
I believe there was 11 trees that had fallen over the back exit of the road, and we had buses that were trying to get in, so we spent several hours just cutting trees and moving them off the road so that people could come in and out. And once we got that opened up, we felt by that time it was about 10 o'clock at night. We felt we're in a good position now for people to be able to get in and out. Working with Marlon, one thing that I really noticed was his poise and his focus on, we just need to start cleaning up. From the looks of things, it looked really bad.
With the sunlight up Sunday morning, Marlon and I were able to walk around the property and do a pretty full assessment. At that point, I would say we were a bit discouraged and overwhelmed with what we were facing, as far as it looked like all of our zip lines were down. A lot of damage in the high ropes area. There were 6 buildings with significant damage to them.
Monday we got to work. Everyone grabbed chainsaws and we grabbed hands, we grabbed equipment, and we just started at one end of camp, and just all week long we just worked to clean it up.
Monday or Tuesday, the other roads started to get cleared up. We were out of electric, I believe, for 5 days, so we were on generators that whole time. But Wednesday was when PP&L showed up, and they had to reset, I think, 6 or 7 telephone poles coming into the property, replace a couple transformers. Sunday afternoon and Monday, as we just started to see the community and the staff and the people that just love Refreshing Mountain just saying, what can we do to help? And realize this is a big task ahead of us, but we got a lot of hands that want to help, and that made all the difference.
I had heard that about 75 trees were down, and that was not counting trees in the woods that we didn't need to get to. That was what we pulled out that week, about 75 trees. So we had Climeworks in to Climeworks is the company that builds our zip lines. We had Climeworks in to give us an estimate of damage and of a cost estimate, and if they were in a position to fix it for us. And they told us that we're about a year and a half out.
And so Monday we were on the phone trying to find different builders of zip lines, see if any of them had availability in their schedule. And the first half dozen that we talked to and reached out to that we had worked with before, were familiar with, all of them were busy, were full.
Amazingly, we were in the process of planning to build our elevated obstacle course. So Treetop actually had us in their schedule to build the obstacle course. We were just in the contract finalizing stage when the storm came, and so, but they still had us in their schedule. So we called them and they said, yeah, we can fit you in.
Early on, we were optimistic, thinking maybe we could have the aerial tour back up by July 4th. And it ended up we were open, I think, the second week of April.
The way all the details fell together, having to put new telephone poles in and getting new telephone poles here, and the crane guy to set them, and just all those people that normally take a month or two out to schedule, they had time for us. So it was just amazing how God worked and was able to bring everything together, and what looked, on the day after the storm, what looked like we could be down for months, and God had us back up and running 30 days later, was just amazing.
From those first couple of days, even by the end of that first week, realizing, wow, our team is really accomplishing more than what we expected faster. It is really, even when the news crews were out, kind of toward the end of that week, and they're like, oh, it doesn't look like you guys got hit that much. And that was just a testimony to how much our team had been able to clean up and address in those first few days.
We're assessing the damage, we're looking at it, and I actually had an excitement inside of me, because I knew God was going to show up, and we were going to look back at this about a month or two later and just be like, wow, God, wow. I knew that we were talking, hopefully June 1st we can be up and running again, and hopefully maybe by May we can be up and running, and I just knew God was going to show up.
There was a lot of testimony of God's watching over us, even in the midst of the devastation that hit, and that was encouraging in the cleanup process to say, the Lord has this under control and He's working this out for our good.